If you like Chinese variation on takeout, you're going to love the Chinese variation on poker. It's called Pai Gow, and it lets you get your poker fix in a whole new way. The original game Pai Gow was played with tiles, but when Chinese immigrants came to America, the traditional game of Pai Gow collided with Western poker, creating the mashup known as Pai Gow Poker. Now, this isn't like your high-octane games of Texas Hold'em. Pai Gow is only played against the dealer, like blackjack. There's no high-pressure, heads-up situations against other players. It's a really relaxing way to play. Pai Gow Poker starts when both you and the dealer are dealt 7 cards. The dealer's are face down and yours are face up. Next, the Pai Gow Poker rules have you divide these cards into 2 hands, a high or back hand of 5 cards, and a low or front hand of 2. After that, both your hands will be compared against the dealer's. If both your hands are better than the dealer's hands, you win even money, minus the rake. If both the dealer's hands are better than yours, you lose your wager. If one is higher and one is lower, the hand is a push and your bet is returned. And lastly, ties go to the dealer. In essence, you're playing 2 hands of poker against the dealer at the same time. It's double the fun of a single hand. Let's play an example hand to see how Pai Gow Poker works. To start, you place your bet and then you're dealt 7 cards. Once you have your cards, you'll need to arrange them into 2 hands. One high hand with 5 cards and one low hand with 2 cards. For this example, let's say you've been dealt a pair of kings, an ace, and a 10 among your cards. We'll keep the pair of kings in our high hand and move the ace and 10 to the low hand. Once your hands are set, the dealer reveals their cards and arranges their hands. Both your hands are compared to the dealer's. If both of yours outrank the dealer's, you win. Nice. In this example, we beat the dealer on both hands. Now, if you're a Pai Gow Poker beginner, you're probably wondering about Pai Gow strategy. Let's break it down how to win Pai Gow based on what you're dealt. A lot of the time, you'll simply get dealt a hand with nothing special, not even a pair. Keep your highest card in the high hand and put the next 2 highest in your low hand. The high hand must always outrank the low hand, so there's no way to avoid this. But what if you're dealt a pair? Well, the situation is simple. Keep it in the high hand. If you happen to have 2 pair, the Pai Gow Poker charts throw in a little twist. Weak pairs, like 2s through 6s, should probably be kept together in the high hand, especially if you have an ace to send to the low. Strong pairs, however, like jacks or better, can be separated. The reason is that the probability that the dealer can beat your weak pairs is decent enough to justify keeping them together and having 2 pair in the high hand. Once you have higher pairs, they're strong enough to split up. What if your pairs are in the middle, like 7s through 10s? You can generally split them too. But if you have an ace for the low, you can keep them together. How about 3 pairs? Basic Pai Gow strategy has you take the best pair and send it to the low hand, leaving you with 2 pair in the high hand. Got 4 pairs? Well, you might want to check your glasses. You're only supposed to have 7 cards. Alright, enough about pairs. Let's get into some sexier hands. What if you poker fans get those trips you've been trying to flop in your Hold'em tournaments? In Pai Gow Poker, you usually keep your set together, unless it's 3 aces. Remember, an ace in the low is usually going to win. That's why one of our best Pai Gow Poker strategy tips is to send 1 ace to the low hand. This gives you a pretty strong high hand left over. Lastly, if you have a full house, the basic Pai Gow move is to put the pair in the low hand and leave the set in the high hand. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how to play Pai Gow Poker for some of the most common situations. What about a Pai Gow straight or flush? Well, there's something to remember about straights if you're a Pai Gow Poker beginner. The best straight is 10 through ace, but the second best is the wheel. 5, 4, 3, deuce, ace. How can you remember them? They both use the ace. Ace straights are the best in Pai Gow, followed by all the other ones. Now let's talk about flushes. As you probably guessed, you want to keep the Pai Gow flush together in the high hand. If you're lucky enough to have 6 cards to the flush, push the high card to the low hand. In this example, the King of Hearts can hold up your low hand, while the other flush cards can stay in the high. They're usually going to win you the high hand. Quads are a funny hand. They're not always going to stay together, believe it or not. The stats tell us not to split them up if they're 6s or lower. For 7s to 10s though, split them up, unless you can move an ace to the low hand. And if you have 4 of a kind better than 10s, aside from wishing you were all in at a final tourney table in an online hold'em game, split them up. That is, unless you can play a pair in the low hand without doing so. Remember, Pai Gow Poker strategy is all about beating the dealer with both hands and taking down the win. You need a bit of balance to maximize your chances of beating the dealer twice. Now, it's time to mention the Joker. Yep, that's right. Online Pai Gow Poker rules leave the Joker in. Unlike a night down on Bourbon Street, it's not totally wild. It usually counts as an ace, unless you need it to make a straight or flush. It's best to think of it as a semi-wild card. Are you imagining that Pai Gow poker charts are complicated? Keep in mind that you'll see a pair about 40% of the time, and no pair about 15% of the time. This means that you already have more than half the situations down cold. Add in 2 pair, and you've got another 23% of Pai Gow hands covered. You won't be seeing tricky situations very much at all, so don't lose any sleep over them. Of course, you want to play your best, so it's great to understand the perfect play in each spot. Playing optimally will bring the house edge down around 2.5%, but even simple rules will get you to 2.7%. So Pai Gow's strategy is pretty straightforward to manage, even if you're not in the mood to nerd out. There's only a couple points left to cover for online Pai Gow Poker. The first is side bets. These get you paid when fun hands are dealt, like 3 of a kind or the Tiger 9, where the dealer has 9 high or less in his hand. These side bets pay something called the fortune bonus, which gives you bonus payouts for straights, flushes, full houses, and more. A straight flush is often the biggest payout on the Pai Gow poker charts. If you make an extended straight flush though, 7 consecutive cards of the same suit, you can win a progressive jackpot. This is the really big win available in Pai Gow. Instead of doubling your wager, you can get thousands for scoring this ridiculously rare hand. Sometimes the progressive jackpot can climb to 6 figures. So if you get the luckiest shuffle ever, you can get paid big time if you hit it on just the right day. If you ever play in person, you can also make a side bet known as the envy bet, which gets you paid when someone else at your table lands a fortune bonus. Want to sharpen your game? Check out our other videos for more poker strategies and game tutorials.